Good afternoon and welcome everyone to our May session of the Teaching and Learning for Student Success monthly webinar series. We know that many are already engaged in summer work and summer plans. So this month's webinar will kick off a series of summer webinars focused on strategies for growth and improvement. We are delighted to feature four Catch the Next Dreamcatchers alumni with us this month. They will be using the webcam to present, and we will conduct the webinar in a roundtable format before opening up to any of your questions. For best viewing, please be sure to expand your webcam view by clicking on the two arrows in the lower right-hand corner. And here are our students here. Rather than read their bios, I am going to just ask each of our panelists to introduce themselves by sharing their names, their majors, what college they attended, what Catch the Next college they attended, when they graduated and or transferred, and where they are now. So without further ado, I am just going to get started and y'all go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Juan Iga. My major right now is public administration. I actually graduated from Palo Alto College in May of 2015, and right now I'm actually at University of Texas at San Antonio with graduated in December of 2018.
I'm Edward Rodriguez. My major is biology. I transferred out of Palo Alto College in the summer of 2015 and transferred to Texas A&M University, San Antonio.
Hi, my name is Veronica Gonzalez. I graduated from Palo Alto College May 2015. I then attended Texas A&M San Antonio, and I graduated this past December of 2016. I am currently, my major was political science. I'm currently studying for my LSAT and planning on attending St. Mary's University School of Law this coming August.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Pisana. I just graduated from Lee College in December 2016. I am a nutrition major. I'm pre-med. And now I just started, finished my first semester actually at the University of Texas at Austin, and had a great time.
All right, thank you all. So we're just going to jump right in to the questions that we have for you all. So to start off, thinking about your experience with the Catch the Next Dreamcatchers program, how did you originally hear about the program?
I'll go first. I actually went to go see my advisor, who at that time recommended me to Dr. Yolanda Reina, who was one of the counselors. She actually told me about the program and how it would benefit me in finishing up my remedial classes, especially in the English and writing.
For me, it was, I met somebody who worked in the Welcome Center first, who then introduced me to Stacy Ibarra, and she's the one who got me enrolled in the program and got me enrolled in Palo Alto as well.
I was also enrolled by Stacy, and I met her at the new student orientation, and she told me that I'd be a good fit for the CTN program, and that's how I got started.
Great. And Cynthia?
Program. I was in my high school, senior year of high school, all through orientation, I believe so. And everyone came and did a little spiel. They were having an info session the very next day, really early in the morning. Just kept going, but one of my friends dragging me out, and I fell in love with the program, and it really helped a lot. How I heard that.
Okay, that's great. So what I'm hearing from the Palo Alto students is it's really interesting. So each of you encountered the program through some form of student services, but it was all through 3 different ways, right? So new student orientation, welcome center, and an advising session. But you all kind of got eventually to the same place. And then for Cynthia, it was through presentations and a series of information sessions from your senior year in high school. So this is really good. This helps us to understand about what recruitment methods work effectively. And so, you know, what I'm hearing is either kind of directors and information sessions or also on the student services and kind of when students are first entering the college, right? Good. So thinking now about once you were in the program, I know a couple of you mentioned that I think Juan specifically said that you know he was encouraged to join the program because it would help assist his writing ability. I want you to talk and think a little bit about how you've grown and how you've developed specifically as writers from before you started in the program to now, or even thinking about your first year. So what did the Puente program or what did the Dreamcatchers program, um, how did they assist you in improving your writing? What specific, you know, kind of lessons or skills or activities did you do that helped boost your confidence? And then what opportunities have those improvements in your writing opened up for you?
I guess for me, it was just, first of all, the encouragement that I had from Dr. Castillo, who was my English professor for both of the classes. He really assisted me in helping me how to write a lot more than what I was used to. Actually, in high school, I was only used to probably writing just one page or one paper. And, you know, at the end of the second English class, I was able to write 5 to 6 pages. Even when I had him for the English 1302 class, I was able to write even 10 to 15 pages. Also, because Spanish was my first language, I always had trouble with the punctuation, the spelling in English. So in the first class, he actually touched a lot about grammar, which also helped me develop my writing skills that I now have.
For me, it was with Dr. Castillo as well. I took him for a summer course, so it was only 5 weeks long. And I believe we were reading Oedipus, and we had to take a 2-sentence quote and turn it into a 12-page essay. And I had never written anything like that before. I was stressed out about it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know if I did it correctly. But I was actually the only student to get 100 on that essay. So definitely by taking him and him not necessarily forcing us to learn how to write, but not giving us time to sit there and say, hey, we don't know how to do this, we don't need help, because we had 3 days to write that. And so that definitely showed me that I was capable of actually learning to write an actual essay versus a 1 or 2 page and turn it in and hope for the best.
Mm.
For me, I always enjoyed writing. I suppose I wasn't very, I hadn't been to school in a while, so I was kind of rusty to say, and I guess just the reinforcement of basic skills that you need to write a good paper was really helpful. And with this program, everybody is at the same level, so you don't feel embarrassed to ask, oh, you know, does a comma go there, or questions like that in other classes you would feel, you know, ashamed to say you don't know how it goes. But you know, reinforcing the basic skills was a big thing for me.
Good, thank you. Cynthia, do you want to add? Cynthia, we're having a little trouble hearing you. Your audio is not coming through. No.
Hello?
Okay, got you now.
Yes?
Yes.
So my experience with writing, it was just formula, just all formulas. You know, you have this piece, and then your conclusion, and you're done. Nothing really flowed for me until I got to Dr. Lada's class. He really focused on personal narratives, which is really, what I really loved. And so that's when you got like emotion and tone out of your essays, your personal stories, and so I really benefited from that.
Great. And in terms of, thinking about what opportunities were offered to you either through through your composition classes, through your English classes, or just through the skills that you built in those classes, what kinds of opportunities have y'all experienced?
I guess for me, it's just being able to know a lot more, being able to expand my writing, which has given me opportunities to have uh, different awards, different scholarships that I never thought I would get because I didn't know how to write. Also, that's given me opportunities to be an intern for several companies, being able to uh, continue my education at UTSA, where most of my classes it's just basically writing essays. And before I didn't think I would have been able to do it, but now with getting the help that I did from this program, it just makes it a lot easier for me to do.
With me, it definitely helped me out in my other courses, especially in my biology courses. For biology 1 and 2, I had to write a total of, I believe it was 5 research papers, and they wanted 10 pages each, which I did Dr. Castillo's in 3 days, 12 pages. So I was like, I can do this, no problem. But the thing about them was that, it's not necessarily your research, so there's a lot of citations that you need to do. A lot of the sources that you're using have multiple people that are in the source. They have multiple scientists. So these courses definitely helped me with my writing papers, because that's not something you want to mess up on, is when you are citing your sources, because nobody wants plagiarism. So I definitely learned how to prevent all of that and definitely learned how to write better.
My biggest thing was scholarship opportunities. Being able to write the essays for the scholarship helped me out tremendously, because through my associate degree and my bachelor's degree, I never had to pay anything. I got scholarships the entire time, and I really do credit this program with helping me with my writing skills to be able to have gotten those awards.
With my writing, I would just have to say the opportunity that it helped me was just my confidence. Before, my writing was just very PC and it didn't flow. And if you told me to write an essay, especially for a scholarship or anything, I'd be very hesitant. And then, with my confidence not so great, it would just come out horrible. But yes, I believe that just having the confidence to write for scholarships, write for resume, vocabulary, so I wasn't using very basic words and things like that. So that definitely helped and opened up.
Awesome. That's all great to hear. Yeah, I think the confidence piece is really huge. And I think starting with personal narratives as opposed to formula, as Cynthia pointed out, is a great point. Some of you also mentioned, kind of the more basic elements of writing, like grammar. I think Veronica said reinforcing basic skills. Edward mentioned citation. How exactly did your professors incorporate kind of some of those basic elements into your writing courses in ways that still helped you feel encouraged and confident about your writing?
I guess for me, it was a lot of Um, he provided a lot of worksheets or a lot of assignments that involved editing papers as well, teaching us where punctuation, especially for me, where punctuation went, how uh, does a sentence flow, being able to do a lot of peer editing between the class was what helped me, or what he did in order to help me learn more about the grammar.
Okay, great.
For me, we read a book by Lori Angaretto over the summer. And like I said, it was a 5-week course. So we did about 4 essays on that book alone.
Mm.
And for me, like it's a lot easier when I learn by repetition. So the fact that I just had to do it over and over and over again and make sure that it was correct every single time helped me like know 100% like that's how you do it. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is correct.
Mm.
For me, my instructor had given us great resources. She showed us many different ways to incorporate writing into our everyday lives. From the way you write a list for the groceries, or anything like that. She really helped us to incorporate writing so we can get more comfortable with it and realize that writing is a fundamental skill that you need for any part of life, really. So she just really helped with that, and like I said, with the resources to find how exactly to write correctly. If she didn't teach it or it wasn't part of the curriculum, she gave us the tools to be able to find out, as for instance, like sources and stuff like that. We were using
Right.
Emma back then, and she really helped out with that.
Awesome.
For me, it was more like little assignments led up to the big paper. So we had a short spurt of one part of our personal narrative, or whatever the topic was, whatever the prompt was we were writing over, and then you edit, revise. And I will say that personal time with my instructor really helped a lot, because when you're in a class full of like people who you just met or things like that, it's kind of like it's nerve-wracking just like ask a question in front of everybody. So I will say like that personal time with the professor really helped with with this.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. This is really valuable. Next, I want to move on to thinking about your experience with your mentor. So talk a little bit about how you met your mentor, who he or she was, and what your mentor-mentee relationship was like.
For me, they actually paired me up with a mentor who actually still works for Palo Alto College. He is actually the coordinator of the Welcome Center here at Palo Alto College. Um, for me and him, we both had something in common, which is that we both came from Spanish descendant. Our families were actually from Mexico, and the fact that my parents only speak Spanish, he was able to speak in Spanish to them and was able to have a great conversation, and was able to help my parents feel a lot more welcomed, and that they knew that I was in a good place, that I was doing a good program, and actually encouraged me to keep going in my studies.
For me, I met my mentor at Noche de Familia, and after meeting him that day, I would see him around campus a few times a week. But at the time, I was working 2 full-time jobs and coming to school full-time. So eventually, it got to the point we got to know each other really well. So he would show up at both of my jobs actually, and see how I was doing, ask me about my classes, and always offer that support if you need help, like writing a paper or understanding anything. Don't be afraid to send me an email, or I had his personal phone number. So he definitely showed me that he was there for support.
For me, unfortunately, I only met my mentor once at the initial mentor meeting, and I don't know if it was just not for her, but I never got a chance to contact her again. But I know from witnessing that Palo Alto has done a tremendous job in vetting the mentors now. They do a better job of pairing them up. So I think that problem has been fixed. But back when I went through the program, I didn't have a mentor basically.
And Veronica, did you find that you kind of sought out other mentors in the absence of your assigned?
I definitely, I shouldn't have said I didn't have a mentor because the advisors and the counselors were definitely my biggest mentors. And, you know, even to this day, Stacy, who started me into the program, she helps me with scholarships, and Dr. Rodriguez, who was my SDEV professor and my counselor, still helps me. It's just, it's like you're part of a family when you're, so I never felt like I was without a mentor, just like the actual mentor I didn't have, but definitely still had positive role models.
Excellent, thank you.
With my mentor, I love her so much. She's definitely been the greatest support. She is an anesthesiologist back home, so she is working all hours of the night, all the time, but somehow still finds the time to meet with me. I recently had a death in the family, and she, you know, was there for me. It was just simple, just text. You know, it was really good to like have someone with extra support, not only for your career, but you know, your emotional being, your mental health, and things like that. So I was very blessed. I love her to death, and I hope that we've maintained our relationship so far since 2014. So I'm hoping that it'll still be maintained forever.
All right, great. Let's see. Thinking about your experiences with the various aspects of the program, and I want to include here, well, we're going to talk about transfer specifically in just a second, but one of the questions that we didn't discuss when we met before was about your visits to four-year colleges and universities. So think about that too when you're reflecting on this question. But what advice can you offer to our faculty and staff to help students succeed?
I would say keep having mentors or people that work in the actual field who can actually be a good contact for students who are going into those careers. For example, just recently, Palo Alto College, the program here, they had several panel professionals from different fields, and they actually gave their experiences on how how it took them to get a degree, and how they get them into the job that they have now. And I feel that that's something that should continue to happen, just because it kind of gives the student an idea of what it takes, what does it take to get to that profession. When it comes to other universities, I always like the idea of how they would take us. And even now, they still take students to different universities to kind of get the feel of it. Just because for someone, it could always be a scary thing because it is a big university. I know it was for me, but because I got to go to these university trips, I was able to get on firsthand how it looks, how the fact that it's not really much different from what people may think. And it does help students kind of ease the transition from a 2-year to a 4-year university.
For me, I would say like to continue to find mentors that are very supportive of what the student wants. Uh, like for me, when I was transferring out, I only needed 3 more classes to graduate with an associate's. And I was already registered for them, and I just decided one day that I wanted to transfer out of Palo Alto and go to A&M. And when I told my mentor that, he said, okay, let's do it. And he got me the papers, degree plans, and everything from A&M. And the very next day, I went over there and registered for the fall semester that was about to start. I didn't feel like he was disappointed in me or pushing me out of Palo Alto College or anything like that. I just felt he was very supportive as to what I wanted as a student.
That's great.
For me, I think specifically one thing that faculty can do is possibly a writing assignment on, where the student would like to, I don't know if they do this already, but where the student would like to attend and why. I think that will I think that will help the student actually think about transferring and have to, because it's assignment, they will have to like research and really think about where they would want to go and what programs that four-year university has to offer. I think that's one way to get them really thinking critically about transferring.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know some of our learning frameworks faculty do a similar kind of research project for their for careers, but it might be kind of putting the cart before the horse, right? To think about, yeah, this is the career I want, but what's the next step in between here and there? Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you.
For me, I would have to say, I guess just look on specifics when it comes to transferring out. I will say that I applied to A&M and College Station, but on the website, it's they have your checklist on what you need to transfer, and so that I guess it was just a logistical issue. What's recommended was actually required. So what it was recommended for me to have a class. I called the office, the department, to say, just check on my status and everything. But it turns out that class that the website says it's recommended to have, it's actually required to have. So since it was not on my transcript, they didn't even consider my application. So
wow.
I think it's not just I wouldn't say it's like the faculty's fault or anything. It's just it might have been helpful to have that in the beginning and just make those calls in the very beginning before you spend your $75 and write out your essays and everything and so I think it was just like logistical. I think it was just the website. The wording on the website's really weird, and I complained about it. So yes, that's.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. And also just being aware of some of the requirements for all of the different schools. I know a lot of the schools have agreements with local four-year colleges and universities, but then, to Veronica's point about finding out from students where they're interested in attending, not everybody wants to, or plans to necessarily transfer to the local four-year college. So, making sure that we're all aware of what the requirements are for a wide variety of options for our students. Yeah, I think that's a really important point. So we're talking about transfer already, and the next question is, what do you think faculty and staff can do to promote and support transfer specifically? Is there anything else that y'all would like to add for this question?
I think for me, I would say have more information for students about transferring, especially to the university that they're thinking of. I know that already part of it is that they do, visit trips to different universities. I remember that they did several of them here, which actually one of those was the one I actually went to, which is the University of Texas at San Antonio. I was able to kind of see the campus and all that, but also have kind of providing students with the information about kind of like Cynthia said, how, what are the requirements, kind of helping the student actually transfer into the university, making sure that they actually transfer in there, not just show them the university. Also kind of going with them through that application process to where they actually see that letter that says, you know, congratulations, you got accepted.
That's a great point.
For me, I remember specifically we went to Texas State when we were here with the Catch the Next program, and we actually had a former Palo Alto student giving us the tour. So I think that kind of broadens the view for a lot of students, like, hey, you know what, this person came from the same school as me, the same neighborhood, and they're here at this university now, so it is a possibility for me as well. So I think if, you know, it might not be possible, or it might be possible, if they are able to find a former student that's able to do that for possible new students of that university, I think that would be great.
Are you volunteering?
Well, yeah, sure.
No, I think that's a wonderful point, and we're so privileged now to have all of you too, kind of out there and representing us at these four-year colleges and universities in Texas. Sorry, go ahead, Veronica.
I think it ties into my initial answer. As you mentioned, not everyone wants to go to the schools that we visit, although it's very helpful. I mean, the first school we visited was A&M San Antonio, and that's where I ended up going to receive my bachelor's degree. But I think with the assignment idea, the students will get an individualized, basically guide, and that they're building it themselves while, reinforcing their writing skills, and they, that's the time where they can research what they need, what documents need to be submitted, what classes they need to have, as I mentioned, at the same time as reinforcing their writing skills.
Thank you.
I guess my suggestion would just be my program at my school did a very fantastic job of advertising or so I guess just branching out. I know it does take lots of money, lots of purchase requests, things like that, and lots of emergency. It's an investment to make to branch out into others that's not just local.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that kind of takes us to our next question, too, because I believe each of you has had the opportunity to also attend Catch the Next Transfer Motivational Conference, which is at the University of Texas at Austin, which is a really unique opportunity for students. Because aside from our Austin Community College students, and Austin Community College is in their second year of the program, a lot of times for the reasons that Cynthia just mentioned, we don't have a lot of opportunity to necessarily go to a school that's far away like UT Austin. So thinking about the Transfer Motivational Conference, if you could just reflect on your experience and kind of what were some of the more motivational events that you attended there, and then what advice do you have for those who are bringing students to this year's Motivational Conference on June 9th and 10th?
For me, a lot of the speakers who were there kind of motivated me. Especially last year, they had an actual Palo Alto graduate who kind of had it hard for him whenever he went to UT Austin, especially when he had to travel from Austin back to San Antonio, every other day. But yet, how he was able to do it, and actually the rewards he got from it, being able to get accepted for a Yale University or the high universities up in the north, that actually helped me see that anything is possible as long as you're determined to it. And having the help from, for example, the faculty, the staff, from Cash to Next, which I've always had. Um, anything, everything that I've put myself to, I've been able to accomplish. And also another thing is that they had representatives from UT Austin from several programs, and I was able to see what they offer. And even though I didn't get to go to UT Austin, but it opened me to seeing that I, I could always go to any university, and the fact that it's not as complicated as people think to go to university.
For me, it was definitely the speakers, because you have these people who went through college, whichever way they went, whether they started off at community college or Ivy League or state university, and they're at the top of their field, and they're trying to help us get to the top as well, Instead of turning their backs, they're turning around and reaching out a hand, trying to help bring, the next generation of students to the top, so that in turn that we can as well turn around and bring more students with us as well. So that's mainly the main thing that I always take away from these motivational conferences, is that I can do it, but when I do get there, to bring more people with me. And I think that's something that people that are bringing in new students should always reiterate to their students. We may say like, yes, we know, but I think it's something that people should constantly hear.
That's a great point.
I haven't had the privilege of attending any of the motivational conferences. With this last one, I believe it was around the time where I had finals. But I'm looking forward to the one in a few weeks. And I think that possibly having more speakers from the university, from a few different universities, sharing their program, in addition to speakers that are actually in the field and a few fields of interest to some of the students, would be beneficial, so that way they can see, the first step is which is transferring, and what route to take there, and then they can see the end result of the speakers that are actually in the field.
Yeah, good. That's a great progression. Go ahead, Cynthia.
So what I got for the motivation of people from all across Texas to the same program, and what they wanted to study, and if they can do it, if they can go do like that, then maybe I can pursue one of those. So I'm seeing other people going to the same program, and
What?
maybe I can. It was just motivation enough.
Thank you, Cynthia. And your sound is breaking up a little bit, just to let you know. I'm curious too. What about the sort of further bonding element of your familias, right? With your students or with the faculty who take you all, who kind of coordinate and take everybody down there, the chaperones. What about that element of the conference?
For me, I actually got to meet other students from different colleges. I actually remember meeting Cynthia there at the conference. We actually got to her and her friends from her college. We actually got to explore downtown, kind of meet each other, know each other at a different level, not just as peers, but as actually friends. For me, it was kind of branching out, kind of meeting new people, and the fact that you have this big familia, and it's just not at your college, but it's at all the colleges that are part of Cash Next, and how their stories are just the same as yours, and that the fact that we can share our stories and be able to help each other out.
Yeah,
For me,
go ahead.
my roommate, I believe, was Juan Ramirez. And at the time of the conference that I went to, he was actually working on his dissertation. So it was kind of cool. Like, he actually let me see it. I got to read a little bit of it. He told me the steps of working on it. And so, I kind of felt like I had my own little private advising session at the conference, and that was really awesome to be able to see that. We did exchange emails, and I did keep in touch with him as well. He did finish. He has his PhD. He was in town actually about 2 weeks ago, and we met up for lunch. And so it's nice to be able to keep in touch with these people.
I haven't attended, so I can't speak on it. I'm sorry, I'm here waiting for me.
No, that's okay. I was just going to see if Cynthia wanted to add.
Are we talking with other families from the other colleges, or the ones on our own on little program?
Either. Kind of just about the networking that happens at the conference.
Okay, I will. I did meet some pretty cool people, and we did get explore the city and things like that. And when you first meet someone, especially at a conference, it's just like very like formal, like, oh, okay, like, yeah, hello, nice to meet you, and things like that. But once you get to explore city, get out of the fluorescent lighting and things like that. You get to know people on a personal level. And so what's really cool is that I was able to connect with some of them on social media, and it's really cool to like see, like, since we've met, some of my classmates and stuff, we only just saw each other in class, and it was just like, oh, hey, talking about certain outside information and things like that. It's really cool to like get to know people on a different level, on a personal level. So it definitely was really.
Are we still on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
He's here now. Yes.
Hi. Yes, I think we lost Lydia, but we're still on. So if everybody can hear me, we can continue.
Okay.
I really like that you mentioned, Veronica, that you guys are planning to come to the motivational conference in a couple of weeks. We really love the ideas that you had regarding having the students write an essay about where do they want to go uh, to school and why. Do you think that if we ask the students that are coming ahead of time to do an essay before they show up, do you think that they would do it, or do you think it's something we should do within the?
I think within the classroom setting would be more beneficial because they'll feel obligated, required to do it. Right now it's summer for a lot of them, so it's like I don't know if they necessarily get to it, or things of that nature. But I do think it's a great idea, just so they can get a more individualized planner, basically for transferring to a four-year university.
And I think with Veronica's idea is that, at the same time, the professor or even the faculty from the Cash for the actual college can actually help them research, more of the requirements or more information for them. That way, they don't feel like they're on their own on this, and that way, the faculty can be in it, and that way it could be an additional thing that can help the student transfer to that university that they have in mind.
Excellent. Um, I was thinking that as an exercise, maybe what we may be able to do, in addition to the essay you suggested, would be to maybe have some of the catalogs from UT Austin that have like the different majors, and then we can go ahead and have people like look through it. Or I'm wondering how we can do that, what ideas you may have. Would that be useful, or should we have like little handouts of different careers?
Are you
Um,
thinking on to have at the motivational conference or in the classroom setting?
well, we're thinking of the motivational conference because we're trying to focus on careers, a lot of writing and careers. I believe I email you the agenda today when you get a chance to look at your email. Um, And what we keep hearing from students is that there's a lot of pressure to choose a major, and they don't know what major to pick because they're the first in their family to go to college, and they don't know a lot of people in different careers, or they have the wrong idea of what it takes to be a doctor or a journalist. You know what I mean? They want to be that, but they don't want the lifestyle. They don't want to get up at 2 in the morning. You don't want to have to run and write stories all the time. So there's the mismatch between what the career is in the life, that you have with it, um, and also how do I prepare for it, what courses. Um, so I'm wondering if it's just a good exercise for the careers that they're thinking after the essay or something, to actually have them go look it up.
I think
Um,
that's a great idea. I know a lot of the different universities have different programs, such as degree works or things of that nature that actually they can look into the major that they are thinking on pursuing and actually see what classes and what requirements are needed um, to pursue that major. And I think that would be beneficial so they can see exactly how many hours it's going to take, which is, how many classes. And I think that'll be a good exercise for them to do. In addition to the essay, they can actually look it up, on the school website that they're thinking about. I think the pamphlet idea is also a wonderful idea. The thing is, are you going to be able to get that many pamphlets for all the students?
right. Um, the other question that I have for you is, we have several professionals that are going to come, and we had thought of two things. We had thought of having like a panel where they can talk, kind of like you're doing. I'm so and so, I have this career. Like one of the ladies, she's a lawyer. I think you met her, Veronica, Kathy Sarate from the coordinating board.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So she's a lawyer, but she's working in education. Or another lady that's going to be there, she studied to be a sociologist, but she's working in education, that kind of thing. So, and we have people like, Dr. Laura Rendon, the one that wrote the validation theory article. I think you guys may have seen some of that. So these are some very distinguished scholars that will be there too. So I was wondering if we should just have like tables where people go around like a round robin and meet different people and they have a chance to talk with them directly, or in fact, maybe we can put the catalog of courses by each one. But the question is, Do we have them as a panel first and then tables, or do we just have them in tables where people can just walk around and meet them and talk to different people about different things?
I think the tables is a great idea. That's like more one-on-one advice that they can get, and I think that'll be really helpful.
Yeah, I agree with the tables.
Great. So we'll definitely do that. Juan is our intern for the summer, so he's gonna help us with that. We'll try to incorporate your ideas. Any less parting thoughts that you have for our faculty that are on the webinar, as to how they can help their students, faculty, and administrators? And also any parting words to us in terms of what we can do to make sure that the programs thrive statewide? We can start with Cynthia since she's all alone.
I think for me, what the program is doing already, it's great. It's helped a lot of students. I would say keep doing what the program's doing. Focus a lot on the students. Veronica's idea about the paper, about kind of seeing where they wanted to transfer is a great idea. Kind of helping the students from there, making sure that they're thinking about transferring, not about just finishing their 2-year degree. Transferring on, getting their bachelor's, and pursuing the career they want. And that all starts from making sure that we're there for them. Through meeting with them on a monthly basis, or by having mentors or people who have been in the field who can share their experiences. I know that's helped me a lot, and I know that would help, or that would continue to help other students as well.
Great. Anybody else?
For me, I think that they should look into outsourcing with their former students. Like you said, like this alumni group with this program. I think that the faculty should find at least 2, 3, 4 students to keep tabs on, so that, especially in the surrounding universities, like, we're all still here in San Antonio, in the state of Texas, but we're also at 3 different universities. So I think if they're able to connect us with other students that are in their classroom, that networking goes from faculty to student to student to student, which might make it a little bit more easier, a little more welcoming for a first-year student in the family.
I think the biggest thing is recruitment. I would love to see this program at many more colleges and universities, and I think, as with Cynthia mentioned, she found out about it in her high school, and I think that's a great idea to start going out to more high schools and getting kids interested in the program, because it's really a tremendous program, and it's really, really beneficial, and it's just, I wish everyone could participate in it because it's so wonderful, and I think recruitment is the biggest thing to keep working on, trying to make the program bigger.
Excellent, thank you. Cynthia, any comments?
Comments. I think the program is doing great. It's doing amazing. It's definitely got me where I need to be. If you told me a year ago I'd be at the University of Texas at Austin, I'd probably laugh in your face. But got some good things going on here. I think recruitment's really good. Recruitment's a really big thing. Yeah, I've definitely benefited so much from this program, and I can't thank y'all enough, Victoria, Lara, and just everyone.
Well, we're very proud of all of you. I am not sure how many of you saw our newsletter for April. We highlighted those of you that went to the Round Rock presentation, and the statistics are so awful in terms of the number of community college students that get their associate degrees. that started in developmental education, and I think the percentage is 14%, like after 6 or 8 years. So you guys are already, in college. Veronica's already graduating, getting ready to go to law school. We have some students from South Texas College already going to business school and the like. So, we're very proud because you all work so hard to finish so quickly compared to the national trend.